Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Really glad to have this man back. Country music superstar, producer, writer, singer, guitar player, and just an all-around great guy, John Rich. John, how are you? Good to see you again.
I'm good, man. Good to see you. I haven't seen you since the big night.
Man, I got to tell you something. There was a lot of celebration in my house, but it turns out there were celebrations in places that you and I probably didn't even expect. California almost turned freaking red, John. I mean, just give me your initial reaction to when you saw it go down. Going in, you and I wanted it to happen. We were hopeful it would happen. Were you sure it would?
I viewed that as like the Alamo if the Texans and Tennesseans had actually beat Santa Ana.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
You're outnumbered 10-1. Nobody's giving you much chance of winning. It's like everything's on the line. Everybody's going for broke. And then you actually win at the end. I was so encouraged, honestly, by the Democrats, independents, cultural liberals, all kinds of people that realized at the last second that the future of their country and themselves and their families was literally at stake with this election. And they decided to step across the line and swallow their partisan pride or whatever and vote for their future by voting for Donald Trump. That was huge. I mean, young voters coming out, black voters, Hispanic voters, all kinds of moderates, Democrats, you name it, came out and voted. That's what put him over the top. It wasn't just his base that put him over the top. It was those extra Americans coming in for the first time.
Well, I think it's because of what you've been saying, what I've been saying, what Trump and his team have been saying. There is no party for them. When you've got an RFK Jr. and a Tulsi Gabbard and an Elon Musk and a Joe Rogan, when you've got them who traditionally are going to be left-leaning people, either completely Democrats, the guy's name is Kennedy, for God's sakes. When you've got them on your team, there's a sea change here that I don't think they have a party anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do because all the new voters that voted for Trump, when I'm not going to say if, I'll say when Trump delivers, and at the end of this 4 years, they look up and go, wow, we are in such better shape. I'm so glad we voted for him. You're not going to lose any of those voters. In fact, you're going to pick up a lot more voters who are around those new voters, and they're going, see, I told you, and they're going to pick them up. So, I mean, I see possibly a nice long wave of conservative principles governing this country for a good long time, and young people especially going, hey, I can't buy a house, I can't buy a car, I can't do anything. I've got a college education, I can't do anything with it. That's why they came out. So it could be a whole new day. I will say this though, what's interesting to me, Joe, is it was maybe 10 days ago, they're screaming, he's Hitler, and his supporters are a bunch of Nazis. They're screaming that at the top of their lungs 24/7. And then Trump wins. And now they're all standing there with grins on their faces saying, we call to congratulate the president-elect on his victory, and we look forward to working with him in a bipartisan manner. And I'm looking at that going, that does not read right to me. I don't trust that. And they still have power until that inauguration happens January 20th. So I've urged all of my family and friends to, hey, keep your eyes peeled because I think they may have a few more tricks they try to throw at us before this is all said and done.
Well, I'm with you. They're not going to just roll over. That's for sure. They still are who they are. They want to have some sort of a role in the government for the next 4 years. But we, like you said, 10 days ago, he was Hitler. He was everything. John, can you imagine? And by the way, go to johnrich.com, redneckriviera.com. Follow him everywhere. Of course, it is that John Rich. Can you imagine spending $1 billion and losing? What on earth? How bad must you be at whatever it is you're doing that $1 billion didn't get you the win?
It's worse than that. They spent $1 billion and they're now in the whole tens of millions.
It's
and so
crazy.
They're running this whole thing now to donate to Kamala Harris to fund a recount. And I'm thinking to myself, donate to Kamala Harris so she can pay for Beyonce, Megan Thee Stallion, Oprah Winfrey, and all the rest of them. Because as we've now found out, they were paying seven figures, sometimes multiple seven figures to those people to show up. I can tell you, I have never been paid a cent to come support Donald Trump in anything I've ever done. Neither has Kid Rock, neither has it. None of us, man. We showed up to support because we're patriots, but on the other side, they got to pay for their support.
I was going to ask you, because you can demand anything you want. You can command any pay you want to come and do what you do. You're that good, obviously. When I heard Oprah got paid, who's a billionaire, John, she needed $1 million to go and stand there and do something that played like she was having her talk show from the 80s and 90s? How much support must you have for the person that you're out there doing it with? That you need $1 million? I was gonna. It's like you jumped into my brain because you can command whatever you want. The answer is zero if Donald Trump wanted you.
Yeah, of course. Zero. I'm just honored that you would ask. Of course I'll be there. When do you need me there? When is sound check? That's my only two questions. So I think they're in shambles right now. I saw that MSNBC's ratings are down 50% right now, and the parent company is considering putting them on the auction block, basically.
Yeah.
Elon Musk ought to buy MSNBC and turn it into something else. I would love to see that.
That would be
fire scale.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. Well, Joe, let me ask you this. It's John Rich. Go and follow him everywhere. Go get all of his music. The new song is Make America Great Again with I just had Kiefer Thompson on. And when you come into that song, John, it's so clear in who it is. I'm like, that's the voice. That's the guy. You cut through and it sounds amazing. People go and download that song, make it number one in the country. When we're talking about these people watching MSNBC, when they lost the election, why would 50% of them stop watching? Did they believe MSNBC when they were like the night of saying, oh, yeah, she looks good. Kamala Harris is going to win. And once she didn't win, they then said they suddenly woke up and said this is fake news? It's been fake news the entire time.
Maybe there's something to that they realize they've been lied to the entire time. Maybe they're quitters. Maybe they're losers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm leaving the United States. I'm out of here. I'm shaving my head. I need some crayons and Legos. I have to deal with my mental torment for losing the election. I mean, they bark so loud leading up to that election, like they are so tough. And the rest of us are sitting around still going to work, got our heads down, working just like we have for the past 4 years through this mess.
Right.
And I never can recall anybody that supported President Trump going on social media and bawling and snotting and shaving their heads and divorcing their husbands. And I mean, all this crazy stuff. Nobody find me a video like that. Please do. I can't find one. I think it shows how weak they truly are at the core because they're built on foundations that are false. They're built on falsehoods. And when you build your entire belief system on things that are not true, when those things get shattered, you have nothing left to stand on. And I really believe that's where they're at. They just feel like they're in free fall. Because they actually are. But the great thing about President Trump is he doesn't care if you hate him so bad that you'll shave your head whenever he wins and that you'll freak out. He doesn't care because he's going to do things that are going to impact you in a positive way, period. He's not going to cut you out of the positive part of what he's going to do. And I think a lot of people are about to find that out. And I think the base gets even bigger after these next 4 years.
Well, I think it's already gotten bigger, and I think you're right, after we see what he does. Because something you alluded to earlier makes a lot of sense. Going in 2016, he believed those moderate lefties. He believed those people that spewed some hate at him. They're like, it's just a campaign, don't worry about it. And then they attacked him for 4 straight years. They attacked him for 4 years after that. He is so much wiser now. He's going in eyes wide open. The appointments he's just made. And let's just talk about Tom Homan for a second. My God. Yeah, we can deport the whole family. Now you're talking about getting... People in the Middle East are like apologizing for what they've done for 4 years. I mean, that's how different this is going to be. Did you see that coming? I mean, it was immediate. When he won, Zelensky posted a big thing on X about how much he loves Donald Trump. I mean, that's how crazy it is. Did you see that coming?
I anticipated people to immediately start backpedaling. It's like when your daddy comes home and he takes his belt off and you've been acting up all afternoon. Oh, right. I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm sorry. I mean, that's where they're at. He took his belt off. You remember your daddy used to take it and he'd snap it a couple of times and carry you to death. Yeah, that's what he's doing right now. Tom Homan, I'm at home right now. He's been in this room a couple of times. I've been able to meet him and hang out with that guy. The thing that struck me recently that he said on top of deporting violent illegals out of the United States was he said, oh, by the way, those 325,000 kids that are missing in our country that came across the border, I'm going to find them. I'm going to find the ones of them that are still alive, and we're going to rescue them, and I'm going to destroy the operations of the people who are trafficking them. Okay. Ding, 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 ding. That is numero uno. Yeah. That is bigger than a tax policy change. That's bigger than anything in my book. Is doing that. As you know, I read the book. I read what it says. And the one thing that upset Jesus Christ more than anything were people who abused and damaged children. He said they should have a millstone tied around their neck and be thrown into the sea. Basically, they should be put out of their misery. And so if we go after those child trafficking networks and he really roots them out and takes them down, that is when you're going to see, I think, true blessings happen in America.
Yeah. I agree with you. You know, when Trump was in office, there were 500 kids that were separated from their parents who broke the law, and the family separation, ripping children out of their arms. These people for 4 years, John, have not talked about the 325,000 that have been missing, that were handed over to just some adult who said, yeah, that's mine. And it makes me sick. I love that Holman's going to be on it. I've got to ask you a question that I mentioned before we started today. So you're up at 4:15 a.m. tweeting. I'm tweeting back at you at 4:15. You sent me a text. I'm not a rock star. I'm not a country music star, but I go to bed at about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why. What is the life, John? When you're out there playing and doing the bar and then going to the big arenas and you're flying from one city to the next, what is the life? Are you up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning every day?
Oh, no. Last night was a little different. It does happen, though. Last night I was doing a thing at Redneck Riviera with Pete Hegseth. So Pete was
Love
down
Pete.
there.
Good friend.
For Veterans Day. And he had a bunch of veterans on stage talking about the issues they're dealing with the VA and so on and so forth. I was actually sitting with the general commander of the VFW for America all the way across. It's new leadership at VFW, and he's a Vietnam vet. And so he was down there. I got to introduce him to Pete. So I was doing that fairly late. And then this morning I was performing just outside of Nashville for a big group of people supporting Army chaplains and actually retired military guys who are now ministers who are setting up whole ministries at these military bases all over the United States. They said that it's so woke in the military that, you know, the leadership is so woke that they have just hamstrung the chaplains and anybody that comes in. They won't let them pray a certain way. I mean, it's complete shutdown. So they have managed to break through that. So I went in and sang for them this morning. They raised, I think it's $250,000.
Oh, wow.
This morning to put more ministers and more bases. So I was doing that. I had sound check at 6 a.m. So that's why I was up so early. But, you know, that's the role I get to play, Joe, is I get to find things in groups like that and then be a facilitator or come in and help them raise a bunch more money, introduce them to the right people, whatever. That's kind of my role as a civilian, to be able to basically serve the people who have served us, which is what Veterans Day is all about.
Amazing. It's John Rich. Go to johnrich.com, redneckriviera.com. Do you want me to push people to make America great again, or have you got a song or an album that you want me to push that's yours?
That's a great song. You guys should look it up. It's Thompson Square is the husband-wife duo. Are You Gonna Kiss Me or Not? That was one of their big hits.
Right.
Kiefer wrote that song, and myself and Gretchen Wilson and Jared Neiman and some other country artists came in on. It's a really good track, actually. It's a really good track. I really enjoyed that song. You know,
hey, John, is YouTube and Google, are they holding it back, do you think? Because Thompson Square has had 15, 20, 30 million views on their other songs. This song, when I talked to Kiefer, it was about 700,000 views, and we pushed it some more. Hopefully it's in the millions, but do you think YouTube and Google are slowing it down?
Oh, Joe, what a conspiracy theorist. Always with the conspiracies with you. Come on, man. They would never do that.
Right.
I mean, Google, Facebook, they're never going to crush a song called Make America Great Again. Why would they do that?
Dumb question alert from the host. Right, exactly.
Well, my song Revelation that you did a story on, they were crushing that one for a while. They were holding that one back, but ultimately people find it. So, you know, go look that song up. It's really good.
It is John Rich. Talk to me about what you're doing with veterans and Old Glory Bank. And by the way, just on the VA, when Trump was in for 4 years, he updated the computer systems. He fired 6,000 people. He made sure that if you couldn't get an appointment at the VA, you can go to your local doctor and we'll pay for it. He did so much already. He's going to be able to put that on steroids, I think, for the next 4 years. But when it comes to Old Glory Bank, your bank, what are you doing with veterans in mind?
So for those of y'all who don't know about Old Glory Bank, that's a bank that I co-founded with Dr. Ben Carson, Larry Elder, Mary Fallon, who was the governor of Oklahoma, and a bunch of other patriots around this country. We thought it would be really important, critically important actually, to have a bank that would not cancel you for exercising your constitutional rights like Justin Trudeau did in Canada for the trucker strike. He turned off bank accounts. and a bank that wouldn't turn over your private information to the federal government, short of a subpoena in a courtroom, which also recently happened where Bank of America and other big banks were hit up by the Fed, and they said, we want to know where your customers are shopping. We want to see what they're buying and where they're buying it. And these banks just said, here we go, here's all their information. And so we said, we've got to build a banking platform that will not do that. And so Old Glory Bank was born. It's oldglorybank.com. You can open an account in under 10 minutes. And so to take that a step further, we were thinking about veterans, active duty, police, fire, border patrol. So all the men and women who are absolutely essential in keeping our country intact. What can we do for those people if they're a customer of our bank? And so what we've done is enacted a thing called Old Glory Protect. And so if you are in one of those groups, fire, police, including volunteer fire, by the way, fire, police, military, including National Guard, Border Patrol, and you have an account at Old Glory Bank, God forbid you give the ultimate sacrifice. But if that happened to you, Old Glory Bank will pay your family a $100,000 life insurance policy.
Wow. Amazing.
And now you tell me another company on earth that has a program like that of any kind. I mean, I think we're the first to really enact something like that. So if that appeals to anybody watching right now, oldglorybank.com, when you go on there and if you call the 1-800 number to get some help setting up your account, guess who you're talking to? An American citizen who speaks plain English. You can understand what they're saying. They're going to walk you through the process and help you. I mean, I'm really proud of what Old Glory Bank has done. I could not be happier with not only what it is, but how people are responding back to me who are customers there. They go, I've never been taken this good care of in my life at a bank. So it's going well.
I love that you're doing it. I'm going to get some money over there. You know, my dad was a firefighter in the Air Force and then in New York after that. And I just have such a high regard, like you do, for those who serve us like that selflessly. And I love that you're doing that for the families. I love that you're doing it for veterans. And I'm not a veteran, but I'm going to go and dump some money in there as well. I want to take part. John, thanks so much for making time as always. And thanks for everything that you do for this country. You helped to bring that win in on Tuesday in a big way. Thank you, brother.
Well, so did you, man. You've had fists up this entire time. Yeah. So congratulations to all of us, man. Now let's take advantage of it.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, John. We're back after this. Stay right here.